What's up, YouTube subscribers? Mark here, Prince Brothers Racing, RPM Speed Machine, your favorite backyard butcher machine shop. What are we doing tonight? Well, I'm like a bad dream. I might come back in a couple of weeks, you might not see me around, and I might come back every night. So I'm out here tonight finishing up a customer's motor. It's a little 455 Oldsmobile. About a 450 horse piece, going in a little, well, ain't really little, a 70 Cutlass street car. Gonna have a little spray of nitrous on it. So we got some forged pistons, got a set of Eagle rods, balanced up, factory crank, externally balanced. It's 30 over 455. We ditched the old smog heads and got a aftermarket set of aluminum heads. And tonight I'm going to show you guys how I adjust hydraulic cams. And it's a mystery to some, but it's pretty damn easy if you go by the method I go by, the way I've been doing it my whole life. When I first started, all the old timers explained to me how to do it with the engine running, and I tried as a kid, trying to back them off, listen to it clack, 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 get it where it stops clacking, then go a quarter turn. Well, that makes a fucking mess. So I figured out a better method that I've been using for the good part of the last 38, 40 years. I'm going to show you how I do it. So we got all the push rods in. Again, this is a hydraulic flat tappet cam, and this will be the same way if you're doing a hydraulic roller. And what you have to know is your plunge distance. Most hydraulic lifters have a plunge preload of 50 thousandths, and that's really easy to figure out. Let me lower this. Oh, Philly Phil is a little loud over here. Radio, TV's always blasting wide open because during the day you can't hear a damn thing when the machines are running. Anywho, like I was saying, most hydraulic lifters, and always look, your lifter manufacturer, whether you're using Howard's lifters or Comps or Iskies or Trends, they usually come with paperwork to tell you what they want your lifter preload. So what I do is, I don't soak the lifters, okay? The only thing I do is give them a very small oil shot of my trusty 70 weight nitro oil, my Penn grade or Brad Penn. All I want to do, basically I just don't want metal on metal. That's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to pump the lifter up with oil. I want to adjust them with the lifter dry, as far as the inside of the lifter dry, so I could feel the plunger. So, the easiest way to do any hydraulic cam is your intake exhaust method. So, on an Oldsmobile, first valve is the intake valve. So now I've already adjusted this first intake, so we're going to go by this, and got a wrench on the motor here. And what I want to do is, I want to turn the motor over so the intake opens. And soon as the intake starts to close, I adjust my exhaust, and I'll show you. And this is really easy with the intake off because you can actually see the base circle of the camshaft. But let's pretend the intake was bolted on. Let's pretend you're doing a cam swap in your driveway, the intake's on already. Or if it's a small block Chevy and you can't see the camshaft, we would have to do it without looking at the cam. But so right now I'm gonna turn this over. We'll watch the intake start to open. All right, starting to open. Start slow. So I'll start slowing down as I'm turning it. Opening. It's at full lift. Now again, lift is collapsing, so we're not getting our full lift, but we'll see when we come over the nose, it'll start to close. All right, We're about on the toe of the cam there. All right, just starting to close. See it move? Just starting, the valve spring's just starting to retract. So when the intake just starts to close, that means you could adjust your exhaust. The exhaust is going to be, look, on the base circle of the cam. So now I'll go over here to my Comp Cams products, what I bought for this Oldsmobile head. Comp Cams, engineered to finish first. Well, we'll see about that. And we're just using some stamped steel style rockers. And always lube's your friend, so I always put a little dabby do on the push rod, and I always put a little on the thread just to get it going. So rocker arm on. Again, using grooved rocker balls. This is a must-have for any small block Chevy when you're using stock rockers. You want the rocker balls that have the grooves. And believe it or not, that does help on a stock ball and seat style rocker from binding. Of course, true roller rockers are the best to use, but it's just a little street deal. And it worked well for the past 100 years on mild lift cams. This is only about a 490 lift hydraulic cam. I think this is a Howard's Rattler grind. It's one of their Rattler series. All right, the nut on there. Just using lock nuts. I'm going to run this down. Right now, I'm just going to run it down and take the slack out. That's all I want to do. Take the slack out. Now, normally I would be holding the push rod with one hand while I'm turning the ratchet with the other hand, because as soon as I get to the point where I'm taking the slack out, that's considered zero. That's considered right at your zero lash right there, right before the preload. And don't be scared if you just starting out and you crank it down and you feel like you passed it. Back it up and do it again. It's no problem, especially with no oil in the lifter. Sometimes it's a little tricky when the lifters are pumped up. They're a little harder to feel. But now there's no oil in the lifter. It's a brand new set of lifters. They're bled down. We can see we just want to tighten that up a little more. And again, doing it with one hand, a little slower. Breeze right through this. And the reason I'm doing this tonight, because I was over at Kenny's last night, and I didn't have someone to hold the phone while I was adjusting those shaft rockers on that top dragster. So all you guys got to see was the parts and me putting the valve covers on and then firing it up. All right. It's past it a little bit, and the only reason I'm fiddly farting with it is because I'm holding this phone. But normally I would be holding this push rod and just feeling it. And as soon as I feel like I'll take all the slack out of it, right there, I'm at zero lash. Okay, so we're at zero lash, and these lifters call for 50 thousandths worth of preload. So, I mean, you could put a dial indicator on there, you could go crazy, but it's not that hard, trust me. This is not rocket science. What you do, you figure out what studs you have. What is your thread? So what we have here, we have our normal, just like a small block or a big block Chevy. These are 7/16 20 is what the threads are. And a thread, that number, the number 7/16 is the diameter. The 20 is the threads per inch. 20 threads per inch. If you actually measured 1 inch of the thread length and counted, there'd be 20 threads. So we want 50 thousandths of preload. We want to move that push rod down 50 thousandths from zero lash. So it's very easy. You take your calculator and all I want to do I just want to go 1 divided by 20 equals, look at that, 50 thousandths. So by doing that, that tells me that for every 360 degrees of revolution, every 360 degrees I turn that nut, it's going to move, it's going to travel 50 thousandths. And the same, like say if it was 3/8 24, if it was 3/8 24, you do 1 divided by 24, which I've done them before, so I know in my head, it's actually 0.416. So it's a little less than 50 thousandths. So we know this here is 20 threads per inch. 1 divided by 20 is 50 thousandths. So now that we're at 0 lash, I just set my ratchet and I go a full revolution. And 50 thousandths. That's my preload. That's it. You're done. So now we go over to the next valve. The next valve is an intake valve. So what I want to do there, like I said, on your intake opens. Soon as your intake starts to close, you adjust your exhaust. Now, if I wanted to adjust my intake, it's the opposite. I would roll the motor over, and soon as the screwing you up here, soon as the exhaust starts to open, then you adjust your intake. And I'll spin it over and I'll show you. So now, all right, should be just seeing the intake's fully closed now. Just gonna run around the base circle. Right there. See that? The exhaust just started to open. So when the exhaust just starts to open, now your intake is on your base circle, and now you can adjust your intake. So it's very simple. You don't have to look at the cam. You turn the motor over. Intake opens. As soon as the intake starts to close, you adjust your exhaust. Turn the motor over. As soon as the exhaust starts to open, you adjust your intake. And that's all it is, kids. The main thing is knowing your threads per inch. 20 threads per inch, 50 thousandths of movement for every 360 degrees revolution. If I actually turned it 20 times, it would actually travel 1 inch. So I hope I'm explaining it where you can understand it. I don't know an easier way. It doesn't really get any easier. But it's a pretty simple method, and you don't have to worry about firing it up without the valve covers on. I'm doing them cold. That 50 thousandths number is dead on. I'm going to adjust these valves. I'll shoot a little more lubricant in here when we're done. We'll juice them up. We'll adjust them all. We'll bolt the valve covers on. Could be good to go. 90% of the time, you won't even have to go back in a hydraulic cam. Once it's adjusted there, that's it. So, there's your Tech Tip Tuesday a day late here on a Wednesday. How to adjust hydraulic flat tappets or hydraulic roller. Same method, same principle. Here tonight at RPM on a 455 Oldsmobile. All right, guys. That's it for tonight. I'm going to finish this up. Head in the house, take a shower, and get ready to go at it again tomorrow. Talk to you later.